You know, the Tabs campaign is really easy. Despite me not having beaten the full campaign yet, that's only because I got bored, not because it's hard. However, that all changed when I played the level named A Few Catapults from the Adventure tab. What if I only used one Zeus unit, I thought. This then led me to take about 10 minutes to beat a level that would have otherwise taken 30 seconds. This was the first time I found this game to be actually challenging, and I liked it. I wanted more, which caused me to think, what if every level was like this? And that's why I'm asking the question, can you beat Totally Accurate Battle Simulator with only one unit? Now, let's start off with some ground rules. First, you must only place down one unit. However, units that have multiple health bars, such as the Ballista and Cavalry, are allowed, as this challenge would be otherwise impossible without them. Second, you are not allowed to turn on Unlock All Units in the settings, as doing so would make the challenge too easy and kinda take away from the spirit of the challenge. Third, cheesing levels is allowed and necessary. Now without any further ado, let's jump straight in. Okay, this part is unscripted, and it's kind of a last-minute inclusion because I completely forgot to mention it. This video will only include the introduction levels. Like, the levels from the introduction tab. Yeah. Level 1 won't be too bad. I mean, the Bone Mage is pretty powerful. Oh, yeah, that's right. It only gives you the first 3 units for the first 3 levels. This means we aren't able to use any powerful units and are forced to use only one fodder unit. And let me quickly get this out of the way. The Clubber is trash and so is the Protector. The Spear Thrower, on the other hand... This doesn't mean that they're any good, just that they're viable. But how are they viable, I hear you ask? Well, they can actually dodge the dang attacks. This game contains that one quote-unquote glitch, where if you move diagonally, then you move faster than usual. I believe this is called vectoring, but I could be wrong, so correct me in the comments if I am. You're able to vector around the clubbers, having them miss their attacks and fall to the ground. When they've fallen over, that's when you throw the spear at them. Or if you're feeling risky, you can throw your spear at them while you're circling. Note, this is much harder to do than the first strategy, and this is what I did majority of the time, of course. And now, here's a compilation of all the times I missed. That took me 6 minutes for one attempt. Now time for level 2. Finally. Level 2 has 10 spear throwers, and I have to kill all of them with one unit. However, I have a secret trick up my sleeve. If you're confused on how I'm dodging the spears so easily, then let me teach you about what I call projectile baiting. When you're moving in a direction, projectile enemies will try to predict where you're going to move and attack accordingly. However, they never take into account that you might move in a different direction. So, if you bait them to throw their spears, then move in the opposite direction, you'll avoid their attack. Since you recharge just as fast as they recharge, you can kill one spear thrower at a time before they get a chance to throw another spear, making the fight slowly easier and easier until it's only 1v1. That was my favorite level in the entire challenge, so it only goes downhill from here. Level 3 is a doozy. If you thought 6 clubbers were a lot for level 1, then you are not ready for level 3. It doubles the amount of clubbers and adds 2 new units. The stoners are not too difficult to deal with. They're basically just spear throwers, but the boulders can trip you. But the bone mages, on the other hand, you need to take them out instantly, because if you don't... I just have to say thank goodness the bone mages can be killed in one hit, or this level might have been impossible. Okay, I have to be real with you. I used cheese to beat this level. I know I said cheese was allowed and this shouldn't be a big deal, but this level is definitely possible without cheese. I got all the way down to 4 clubbers left, at least 3 times. I just didn't want to spend hours on this level to constantly lose, so I had to find a cheese spot. I got really lucky for the Bone Mages to have killed nearly everyone on their side. I got scared when this happened, but luckily the Bone Mage killed itself. Final guy wasn't too bad to take out. Still very disappointing. Level 4 we got new units, and I can finally use the Bone Mage. And because why not, let's put Stoner into niche here. I haven't used them, but I'm pretty sure they'll be just as good as the Spear Throwers, maybe even slightly better because their stones can hit multiple enemies. Bone Mage made level 4 a breeze, so I think it's only fair to put them in dang good. This section of levels is so easy. It really put me into a false sense of security for how the rest of the challenge will go. Unfortunately, I'm too poor to afford a mammoth on level 5, so I'll have to stick with the Bone Mage yet again. Luckily, this is one of the easiest levels in the game, and I beat it on my very first attempt. Levels 6, 7, and 8 can all be summed up in one word: mammoth. I think you can see why I named the chapter like this. I beat all 3 on my first attempt with the mammoth. Let's put him where he rightfully belongs. Unfortunately, not all the levels can be so easy, but the harder levels make this challenge more interesting, right? Anyway, level 9 is one of those levels. However, the harvesters are absolutely insane. One harvester is able to take out an entire army. These guys are dang good. Nearly lost the 1v1 at the end because I got cocky, but seriously, what is their skin made of? Chainmail? My man can survive 4 sword hits straight to the skin. I'm having a hard time believing they die from cuts and just straight up die due to blunt force trauma. What was I talking about? Oh, I won. Well, on to the next one. Uh-oh. Level 10 forces me to use the wheelbarrow. These guys are not fun. At the time, I didn't realize the power this unit held, but now I realize they're too overpowered. And at the same time, they're too boring to use for this challenge. I beat this level on just my second attempt using them. The next 2 levels I also use them, of course. In level 11, the main wheelbarrow pusher guy, let's call him Barry, unfortunately dies and I have to solo the 3 living knights with the tomato thrower. Wow, I'm getting a bit of deja vu. Level 12 has 4 healers, 8 squires, and a king. If you don't know much about this game, the king has over 20 times the amount of health a squire has. And with the constant healing, this level will be a doozy. Or I can just use a wheelbarrow and run around them. Why are these guys so overpowered? After I beat this level, I made a vow to myself that I would not use any more wheelbarrows for the rest of the challenge unless it's absolutely necessary. Thank goodness level 13 gives me new units so this video isn't completely boring. I ended up using the king for this because he just has a lot of health. I thought this level would be a lot harder than it was, but the king just has so much health it's almost unfair. Level 14 is basically the same as level 13 in that the king easily sweeps past the enemies. The rest of the faction might be usable, but I had no reason to use them just because the king is that good. Level 15 is where things get spicy. Ballistas can one-shot the king, so in order to dodge the ballista bolts, I need to swing my sword at the perfect time. This will cause the momentum of the swing to send me straight past the attack. Then, once the ballistas are down, the rest of the level is smooth sailing. Level 16 was worrying at first. I wasn't sure if the king would be able to tank 2 Minotaurs and a bunch of Ceresos, but fortunately, he could. I don't know what happened to the Minotaur's health, but I won, so we take those. And that was the last time this challenge would be simple. We got really lucky for having an awesome unit like the King to be available to us. Unfortunately, we weren't as lucky for the last section of levels. Level 17 changes the units we can use again, and oh god, most of these guys suck. Thank goodness we have Zeus on the roster, otherwise we probably would have been screwed. And Zeus is, well, I know he's in the dang good tier, but he barely deserves to be there. Unfortunately, he's the best unit we have. Thankfully, his lightning bolts pierce through shields, because if they didn't, this level would have likely been impossible. I tried to use Zeus for level 18, but the Jarls are too damn tanky for Zeus's lightning bolts. Not to mention, they become invincible for a short while after you bring them to half health. That is, unless you kill them in one hit. Aw, hell yeah! Ballistas can insta-kill them. But that causes a new issue. How the heck am I gonna survive the rest of the brawlers with a ballista? It has such a huge hitbox and moves so slow. Well, remember when I talked about vectoring earlier? Yeah, it's coming back because the ballistas can vector too. Moving like this is barely faster than the brawlers, but it's fast enough that we can get some distance and use what I'm calling a ballista flick. Basically, since a ballista takes a while to charge up before shooting, I can charge up the attack while running, then quickly flick back towards the enemies, causing as much damage as possible. This is the strategy I ended up using to beat level 18. Let's skip level 19 for now. I want to save it for last. Level 20 is a cakewalk. I just used Zeus and destroyed the longships before they destroyed me. And even if one did get set off, it only deals half of Zeus's health, so it's not even that big of a deal. Well, that was technically the last level in the campaign, but if you remember what I said like 20 seconds ago, level 19 is really the last one I finished. And it is rough. The footage is almost an hour long, and that isn't even including the amount of time it took me to come up with this strategy off camera. I tried Zeus and got demolished by the Jarls. I tried the ballista strategy and was shot by the ice archers. I tried to lure them off the edge, but they always ended up hitting me before they fell. It seemed like this challenge would be impossible on the second last level. But then, I found it. The perfect cheese spot. I would position my Zeus on top of this little chimney thing and throw lightning bolts at them. They couldn't get to me, but once they got too close, I also couldn't hit them. The trees would block both of us, so I needed to fall down and hope my bolts slip past the trees and hit someone. After a long, grueling process of this, I finally whittled down the health of the enemies and won the challenge. I've actually been working on this video for over a year now. That is mainly due to procrastination, but either way, it's taken a long time to come out. I'm not sure I have it in me to continue this series if each episode takes me so long to record, script, and edit, but I really want to continue. I have a goal for this video before I make any sequels, and that is to hit at least 1,000 views and at least 50 likes. I know it sounds pretty ambitious, especially coming from a primarily Deltarune-focused channel, but I really want this video to do well. So, if you enjoyed the video, why not like, comment, or subscribe? It would really mean a lot to me. Also, this video was heavily inspired by the YouTuber Sample. Like, if you watch literally any of his videos, you can see how much I took from them. He's honestly one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, so I truly recommend seeing his stuff if you like this video. I'll link to his channel in the description. I hope to see you again soon. Have an awesome day.